I'm Hazel, it's Saturday again, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. This is our last Saturday before the Shadowlands launch. It's in just like 2 days, just on the other end of the weekend. Monday afternoon for me. A quick refresher of global launch times in case anybody hasn't memorized them yet. Shadowlands is launching 3 in the afternoon Pacific time, so afternoon on Monday for me. It's going to be about midnight over in Europe, depending on where you are, and then Tuesday morning over in Australia, New Zealand, and Eastern Asia. Just recently, Blizzard has officially clarified some of the finer points of how exactly the expansion transition is going to work in terms of like time cutoffs. So the anniversary event is going to end on Sunday, the day before the pre-patch. The pre-patch event itself, with the Ice Crown rares, the quests, and the Death's Rising Feat of Strength being available, that is all going away 1 hour before the global launch. At half an hour before the launch, BfA Mythic Plus dungeons will become unavailable, and then at launch time, the Titan Residuum and Honor conversion is going to happen, and that's also when the Uncorrupted Voidwing becomes available. One last reminder on that Titan Residuum point, you can still get more gold for your Residuum if you spend it before that conversion happens. So if you just buy cheap Azurite chest piece, turn them into gear, and then vendor that gear, that's going to give you significantly more gold in the conversion. The Azurite vendor was briefly removed on live servers, but they have put it back. That was a different issue, and it's back in business now. So you can still liquidate your Titan Residuum. I advise that you do so. This is your last and final warning from me. Another last-minute warning, your BfA weekly cache will not be lootable once Shadowlands launches, so make sure to open your weekly cache before the expansion launches just to get that piece of gear that you're going to use for all of an afternoon. And one thing that you don't need to worry about is a pet charm conversion. There is no pet charm conversion in the Shadowlands transition. Your polished pet charms will stay polished pet charms, they're not turning into shinies, and you can use your stockpile of polished pet charms in Shadowlands to get Shadowlands pet stuff, and you'll also get more of them there, but you don't need to spend your pet charms like last time. That is not happening this time around. Other news this week, there were some last-minute Shadowlands interviews with Ian that went out. Wowhead did one. There was also a press group interview. Very much worth looking through. I will put links down below, but the main highlight takeaway for me is that in that group interview, Wowhead reported that Ian clarified that flying will be earned in the first major content patch following launch, and the requirements will not involve reputation this time. So we know that the Pathfinder unlock is going to involve Covenant Renown this time instead of Reputation. And also from these interviews, we know that Covenant Renown involves some heavy catch-up mechanics that are in place right away. You don't have to wait until patch 9.1 or 2 for them to implement Renown catch-up. It's going to be in there right from the beginning. So if you start Shadowlands late, or if you switch Covenants, because Renown is tied to your Covenant, if you switch, you should be able to catch most of the way up within a couple of days and the rest of the way up within a couple of weeks. So even if you start late or switch Covenants, you should be able to unlock flying in the first content patch in a reasonable amount of time. And that's all I wanted. I know other people want more, but that's enough to make me happy. I don't hate the Pathfinder system. I just wanted the second part of it to come earlier, you know, in the first major content patch. So I am thrilled. They also mentioned that they are not updating the flight whistle for Shadowlands. They gave some rationale for that about how in Shadowlands your calling, which is like your emissary, sends you to one zone as opposed to in Legion or BfA where like the Tortolans would have you go all across continents. So there might be less travel time and you know your Covenant network will help, but I will believe the less travel time when I see it. Anybody that wants to just kind of clear out world quests on the various zones is going to be going between all of them in a given day, especially early on. I think there's going to be quite a bit of travel time, but I don't even care because if we can fly in the first patch, then that's all I want. Also, flight paths are a fantastic time to hydrate and get snacks. And in my life this week, I've got really nothing that exciting going on because all the exciting stuff is Shadowlands and that's next week. I did get the rest of what I needed from the pre-patch event. I do now have the transmog sets for all 4 armor types, and then I just got one of the Putrid Geist pets. I figure I'm not going to bother stocking up. I can leave that to everybody else. I've been putting together dungeon guides, and I updated the DBM voice pack. So if you are a user of the Hazel DBM voice pack and you needed an update, it is now out. Your add-on client should be able to pick it up. If you don't use the Hazel DBM voice pack, you don't need to. It's about exactly as it sounds, and whenever I put it on to make sure it's working, it makes me cringe into the depths of hell. So I don't know that I recommend it, but it's there if you want it, so suit yourself. For my launch day plans, I want to stream on Monday. Normally I don't stream Mondays, but I'm gonna stream on my Twitch starting probably like noon or like just after lunch on the Monday, like a couple hours before launch, because I want to try to do a Shadowlands nail art on stream, we'll see how that goes. Attempt is a key word there. And then I'll probably play for a couple of hours after launch, attempting to level. But I am expecting leveling within the first like 12 hours of the expansion launching to be an absolute mess. I'm curious if it actually goes well, because on one hand, Blizzard handled the classic launch, which was insanely popular, pretty well, and that worked out reasonably. Like, it was a little iffy, but for the most part that went smoothly. But on the other hand, in the recent weeks of pre-patch, every time a rare comes up in Ice Crown, my server, you know, coughs and falls over like somebody trying to get to their car in the snow in the dark with a cough. It's just been spotty server performance during the pre-patch, and then when Shadowlands launches, one, I see so many people that are like really excited to play on launch day, so I feel like the numbers are going to be high. And then two, this time around, we're all being funneled through the same zones and the same campaign quests. There's no like choose your own adventure, go do the zones in any order, at least for your first playthrough. So everybody's going to be funneled through the same points, and no matter how carefully they've tried to prevent bottlenecks, there are absolutely going to be bottlenecks. There always are. So I figure the first day, like what I'm trying to say here is if you can't get the first day of Shadowlands off and you're sad about missing launch, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think it's probably going to be a disaster, but like it'll get back up and going and we'll have years to play it. I'm not in a rush. I'm not too worried about like hitting 60 as fast as I can or anything like that. I just want to like play and have fun. So that's my launch day plan. I haven't done any of my usual expansion launch meal prep yet, but I was thinking maybe doing like an instant pot batch of butternut squash soup, and then I can throw some bread in the bread machine, and then we can have like some soup and bread, because I want to clarify, I don't hate soup. I just don't feel that it constitutes an entire meal for me. You just gotta get the carbs in there and like some nice buttered bread, and then you're having a good time. Or like a sandwich. Maybe I'll make grilled cheese. That's not really a gaming snack. Anyways, questions for this week. The Bugix asks, what client, if any, do you use for add-ons? Trying to get an overview of my add-ons for Shadowlands. Love your content. So currently I am still updating my add-ons with wowup.io. It has been working very well for me. At some point over the next, I don't know, time in my life, I would like to do a video that kind of checks out all the major add-on managers. I want to try out the Overwolf one as well as Azure to kind of like compare them and talk about, you know, the pros and cons of each setup. But for now, WowUp has been getting the job done for me. It's great for updating your add-ons. It's nice and clean. It's not great for discovering new ones. It's got a search menu, but it doesn't really have the same kind of interface for like discovering add-ons. But in my case, that's what Twitch chat's for. I seem to find add-ons just fine without needing to like find them in the interface. And Samantha Lashaw asks, do you know if the Gold Emissary from BfA are going away when Shadowlands launches? I have 14 characters and I'm sick of running them on all my characters, but it feels like the only reliable way to make gold right now. Oh, I feel for you. I don't know if either answer is going to make you happy. So I checked, I logged into beta and checked, and currently on the Shadowlands beta, as of, you know, November the 20th, I do tape these a day in advance, there are still BfA Gold Emissaries that are up and available. Now, having said that, it feels like the kind of thing that they are probably going to take down. They just might have like forgotten. They're busy, but I would be surprised to see those stick around, because generally what we've seen over the last couple of expansions is the raw gold generation of current expansion activities nerfed to the ground when a new expansion comes out, so that you don't have an environment where somebody needs to go do their Draenor Garrison missions and then go do their Legion World Quest and then go do their BfA World Quest and then show up and do their Shadowlands stuff in order to make the most gold. They try to nerf the gold output of older stuff mostly, for the most part, so that you don't feel pressured to go do old content. Haven't seen that yet. I would assume that's what they're doing, but no sign of it at the moment. And Oliver asks, will the Argent Commendations be worth holding on to, or is it a currency only for the pre-patch? My understanding is that those are only for the pre-patch, so spend them before Shadowlands launches and before the pre-patch event ends. You can buy gear for them. If you already have all of the gear that you need, then you can buy the Putrid Geist battle pets. You can just like cage those and stash them in your bank basically infinitely if you want to like try to sell later. Unfortunately, the gear itself has a vendor price of 1 copper They are onto us and our currency liquidation strategies, so there's no real sense in buying gear just to vendor it, but you can stock up on the pets to try to sell later. On one hand, people are feeling good about Putrid Geist prices because it's a pet that is only available for 2 weeks in the game right now, and as soon as the event ends, there will never be any more of them generated, so by that logic, the price should only go up. I am feeling not that optimistic about their prices because while yes, the supply is going to be cut off, that pet is so cheap and so achievable, and there are so many people playing right now that I feel like the supply that has been stashed away into banks Azeroth-wide is going to massively outstrip any kind of demand for the foreseeable future. Like check in 10 years from now and they might be worth a little bit more, but I feel like this is going to be closer to a Left Shark situation than a Hatespark the Tiny situation. Hatespark the Tiny was a pet available from the 10th anniversary Molten Core event, and that was limited availability, and the prices are very good now, but that pet was also really hard to get. Like, the anniversary raid took forever to do. It was an LFR that took just ages to get through, and the pet was like a really low drop rate from it, whereas Putrid Geist, you can just like cram them in your bank all the live long day. So that's basically your best bet for liquidating currency, but I wouldn't, honestly, I'm not bothering. I don't have anything better to put in my bank, but I would rather have it be empty. At least that I don't have to worry about it. And that has been my week. I'm so excited for next week. I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to be putting up videos. I've got dungeon guides up so that if you want to be that person that like already knows what the mechanics are, like the first time that you step into the dungeon, that can be you. I've got a playlist of those. I'll link down below. Raid guides are coming. The raid guides will be done before the raid opens on December 8th, so keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions that you would like answered on one of these news videos, please leave it in the comments of the most recent one and include the word question. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful day.